In the bustling city of Vienna, 1847, a young Hungarian doctor named Ignaz Semmelweis faced a medical nightmare that would define his legacy and ultimately cost him everything. This determined physician with intense eyes and a firm line stood at the brink of a medical breakthrough that the world wasn't ready to accept. His story begins in the prestigious Vienna General Hospital, where he served as an assistant in the maternity clinic, completely unaware that he was about to challenge centuries of medical dogma and face the brutal consequences of speaking truth to power in the medical establishment. The Vienna General Hospital stood as a monument to medical progress, its imposing neoclassical architecture housing both hope and horror. Within these walls, a terrifying mystery unfolded daily in the maternity wards. Healthy young mothers from poor backgrounds would arrive full of hope to give birth, only to encounter what doctors called child fever, a mysterious illness that turned the miracle of birth into a death sentence. The hospital's grand corridors and crowded wards became the stage for a medical drama that would revolutionize healthcare, but at a terrible personal cost for the man who dared to question established practices. The maternity wards of the 1840s were scenes of both joy and terror. Women labored in crowded rooms filled with wooden beds, their faces reflecting the grim reality that 1 in 3 of them would not survive childbirth. The air was thick with the smell of sickness and despair as doctors in blood-stained coats moved from patient to patient, completely unaware that they, themselves, were the carriers of death. Midwives worked alongside physicians, following the same procedures yet achieving dramatically different outcomes, creating a medical paradox that would consume Semmelweis' career and eventually his sanity. The answer to this medical mystery lay in the autopsy rooms, where medical students conducted dissections on corpses before proceeding directly to the maternity wards. These dark, gloomy rooms filled with the smell of death and formaldehyde became the unintended source of the tragedy. Students would handle diseased tissues and decomposing bodies, then, with unwashed hands still carrying invisible, cadaverous particles, they would examine women in labor. This direct transmission from dead bodies to living patients created a deadly chain of infection that Semmelweis would eventually identify and break. The gruesome cycle repeated daily. Well-meaning doctors moved directly from the morgue to the delivery room, their hands still contaminated with organic matter from corpses. They used the same instruments, wore the same coats, and followed the same procedures that had been standard practice for generations. No one suspected that these respected physicians, these pillars of medical science, were actually agents of death. The medical establishment's refusal to consider this possibility would become the greatest obstacle Semmelweis faced, leading to professional ruin and personal tragedy. Semmelweis' revolutionary solution was deceptively simple: a chlorine hand-washing regimen. He instituted strict rules requiring doctors to wash their hands with chlorinated lime solution between procedures. The results were nothing short of miraculous. Mortality rates plummeted from 18% to under 2% within months. This dramatic transformation occurred not through complex medications or advanced surgeries, but through the simple act of cleansing hands. Yet this life-saving breakthrough was met with outrage and rejection from the medical community, who saw it as an insult to their professional dignity. The medical establishment reacted with fury and contempt. At medical conferences and in professional journals, senior physicians mocked Semmelweis' ideas, calling them absurd and unscientific. They argued that gentlemen's hands couldn't possibly carry disease, that the chlorine solution was harmful, and that statistical evidence meant nothing against traditional practices. Semmelweis found himself isolated, his career prospects destroyed, his reputation in tatters. The very institution meant to advance medical science became the greatest barrier to implementing a discovery that could save countless lives. As rejection mounted, Semmelweis grew increasingly desperate and obsessive. He spent hours writing furious letters to prominent doctors across Europe, compiling statistical evidence and documenting case studies. His once promising career crumbled as hospitals refused to hire him, and medical journals rejected his papers. The man who had discovered how to save millions of lives, found himself unemployed, ridiculed, and descending into what his contemporaries called madness, though modern historians recognize it as likely severe depression and frustration at the world's refusal to accept obvious truth. The final tragedy unfolded in a mental asylum, where Semmelweis was committed after exhibiting what his family called erratic behavior. The conditions in these 19th-century institutions were horrific, overcrowded, unsanitary, and brutal. Ironically, the man who had proven the importance of hygiene died from an infected wound, likely caused by beatings from asylum guards. His death certificate recorded septicemia, the very disease he had dedicated his life to preventing. He died unrecognized and broken, never knowing that his discovery would eventually revolutionize medicine. Today, Semmelweis' legacy surrounds us in every hospital, clinic, and healthcare facility worldwide. The simple act of handwashing that he championed has become the foundation of infection control, saving millions of lives annually. His name is immortalized in the Semmelweis reflex, the psychological tendency to reject new evidence because it contradicts established norms. Modern medicine has fully embraced his insights, with hand hygiene protocols mandatory in every healthcare setting. A silent tribute to the doctor who was once ridiculed for suggesting that clean hands could save lives. The numbers tell a powerful story. Where Semmelweis methods were implemented, maternal mortality rates dropped from 35% to under 2%. Modern studies show that proper hand hygiene reduces healthcare-associated infections by up to 50%. Each percentage point represents thousands of lives saved, millions of families spared from tragedy. The statistical evidence that Semmelweis painstakingly compiled now forms the bedrock of infection control protocols worldwide, proving that his methodology was sound, his conclusions correct, and his sacrifice ultimately meaningful. In medical schools today, Semmelweis' story is taught as a cautionary tale about scientific resistance and the importance of evidence-based practice. Young doctors learn about his struggle as they master the hand hygiene techniques he pioneered. His portrait hangs in medical institutions as a reminder that scientific progress often faces fierce opposition and that truth eventually prevails. The very establishment that rejected him now celebrates him, though this recognition came far too late to save the man himself from tragedy and despair. Semmelweis' influence extends far beyond hospital walls. The World Health Organization's Clean Care is Safer Care program, followed by healthcare systems worldwide, embodies his principles. Each year, hand hygiene awareness campaigns reach millions, all tracing back to one doctor's stubborn insistence on a simple truth. From operating rooms to schools, from restaurants to homes, the practice of regular hand-washing stands as a living monument to a man who refused to abandon his convictions, even when the entire medical world stood against him. Ignaz Semmelweis' story is more than a medical historical footnote. It's a powerful narrative about courage, conviction, and the painful price of being ahead of one's time. His life reminds us that scientific progress isn't always linear or welcomed, that established institutions can resist transformative ideas, and that sometimes the simplest solutions face the strongest opposition. Yet his ultimate victory, though posthumous, demonstrates that evidence and truth cannot be suppressed forever. Every life saved through proper hand hygiene is part of his enduring legacy, a tribute to the doctor who proved that sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply washing your hands.
I'm so glad you stayed with me until the end of Ignaz's story. Having you along is my biggest motivation. If you think a friend would also enjoy these tales, please don't forget to subscribe and share. Let's keep this beautiful connection going. See you in the next video.